Ian from RTO here. Welcome to another classic album review. And during the month of May, because there are 5 Mondays in May, I decided to do each week a different decade. And we've got to the final bit, and this is the 90s. Now the album I've chosen, because I'm not very up on some of the 90s rock albums, so what I did, I found a list and went through. I've got a load that I can do, and I thought, well, pick this one, and it's 9 Inch Nails and the album's Downward Spiral. Now someone has actually asked me to rank the 9 Inch Nails albums now, so this is the first real venture into this band. I don't know that much about them, to be quite honest. They're not sort of thing that I'm into. But 9 Inch Nails, an American industrial rock band formed in Cleveland in 1988 by Trent Reznor. This is sort of industrial electronic rock sort of thing. Well, obviously they're pretty big because they've sold over 20 million records, nominated for 13 Grammy Awards as well. So interesting band. And they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2020, which I sort of thought was a bit bad, because there's bands that have been around for years that still can't get in, and these come along. So it just shows what an absolute farce the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. So, the Downward Spiral is the second album, and it was released in 1994. Apparently it is a concept album detailing the self-destruction of a man from beginning to his methodic downward spiral into his suicidal breaking point. Yeah, really heavy material. So the band is Trent Reznor on vocals, all instruments, drums on Piggy, arranger and producer. Mark Flood Ellis, synthesizers. Chris Verenda on drums. Adrian Belew, yes, from King Crimson, on texture generating guitar. Danny Lonher on additional guitar on one of the tracks. Andy Krabinski on drums on the Downward Spiral itself, and Stephen Perkins on drum loops. Okay, so this was my first ever listening of a 9 Inch Nails album. So the first track is called Mr. Self-Destruct. Well, this is a really strange thing. Lots of drumming percussion on it. Interesting track. Did I like it? Not really. It's going to take me a little while to get into this sort of sound. Now the second track is called Piggy. This is more of a melodic track. I quite like this. It's got a nice little keyboard running through it. It's quite a good track. Heresy, good track. It's got a good beat. Okay, the vocals are a bit shouty in it, but it doesn't spoil it. March of the Pigs. This is dance meets metal, and I'm not at all interested in this. This is just not my sort of thing. It just didn't work for me. Closer, very interesting track. The lyrics are quite crude. I'm not a party pooper, and so you can't swear in tracks, but this is very crude, and I just don't like that sort of thing. Don't need that on an album. Then we get Ruiner. This is more Prodigy sort of sound, which is interesting. It's very clever what they do, but it's not for me. You know, I've got respect for bands that do this fusion of dance and metal. You know, it's an interesting concept, but it's not for me. But they're becoming, I just didn't get this at all. Am I getting too old? I might be too set in my ways. I just found it noisy. Didn't like it at all. I do not want this. Very disjointed. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then Big Man with a Gun. Please can I have 1 minute and 36 seconds back of my life? Now the best track on here is a thing called A Warm Ambient. It's called A Warm Place. This is very ambient. Doesn't really belong on this album, but it is really, really good. Quite like that track. And then Eraser. Now this is an ambient industrial thing. It's I don't know if they want to be Rammstein or the Prodigy on this. Very confusing, but it's got some nice elements in there. Reptile. I don't mind this. It's got that industrial sound to it. I think this is very clever and very modern. It's got a great bass line on it as well. The Downward Spiral, all I put on my notes, it's horrible and a dirge. Hurt. There's some nice guitar riffs on this. Sounds more something like a soundtrack than an actual song. That's what, they're the songs. Now, what did the critics say? Now, the Rolling Stone magazine listed it as one of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Really? The Rolling Stone staff wrote, holding up in one-time home of Manson family victim Sharon Tate, Trent Reznor made an overpowering medication on the 9 Inch Nails central theme, Control. Yes. Martin Popoff so it's one of the 500 top heavy albums. Q named The Downward Spiral as one of the 50th heaviest albums of all time. Yes. So how did it? So what was this? The critic scores? Well, All Music gave it 5. Bienda gave it 4. Christian Kratu's, whatever his name's, Customer Guide gave it 2. I actually agree with him for once. Encyclopedia of Popular Music gave it 5. The Great Rock Discography 8 out of 10. Mojo gave it 4. Pitchfork 8.3 out of 10. Pop Matters 9. The Rolling Stone album gone 5. And the Spin Alternative Record 9 out of 10. Okay, it did sort of establish them as a reputable force, but personally I wasn't too keen on it. It got to number 9 in the UK, number 2 in the US, didn't do much anywhere else. It got 4 times platinum in America, gold here in the UK, and platinum in Canada, which is quite funny because it only got 92 in Canada, so I don't know how that happened. I've got to do more listening to 9 Inch Nails, but I can see how this became a successful album. The kids must have loved it. It was a bit different. It's a different take on metal. I don't like the screaming on it, but I'm going to be listening to more of this band, so I'll be able to give a full round when I've listened to them. But for this one, I can only give it a 4 out of 10. We'll see if this is still at 4 out of 10 when I do the full album ranking at some stage. Okay, that's all for today. Tomorrow's the last Tuesday of the month, which means it's Ladies' Day tomorrow. So we're going to do a very short album ranking from a 70s band that only made 2 albums. They're an all-female outfit called Bertha. And tomorrow's retro ranking is a little bit different because we've only got a short album ranking tomorrow. I would thought I'd pick my 20 favourite #1 songs in the UK by female artists. That's groups, duos, and single artists. So that's all tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone, especially if you're watching in the UK. Enjoy your bank holiday today, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.